It has been more than a month now that India is under a lockdown to curb the spread of coronavirus. Economic activities have been halted, manufacturing and most of the industries are now at a standstill. The migrant workers and daily wage laborers who come to big cities from remote areas of India, the poor people, are the ones who are suffering the most due to the lockdown. Most of them have lost their jobs, they have no money with them. What to eat and when there is no money and lockdown has shut everything is a big question in front of them. Many are walking thousands of kilometers without any food or water in scorching heat to their hometowns. Despite several announcements to provide these migrant workers with food and shelter by the government, be it state government or the central government, thousands of them are still going hungry. A survey by the Stranded Workers Action Network revealed some staggering statistics in this regard. Today we are joined by Rajendran Narayanan, Assistant Professor at Azim Premji University and convener of LibTech India. We will talk to him about the statistics, the staggering statistics that have come forward related to the migrant workers. Sir, as per the survey done by the Stranded Workers Action Network, close to 90% of the migrant workers who are stranded in different parts of India have not received any kind of ration or cooked food from the government of India, and 70% of them have not been provided with the remuneration from their employers as well. So, what is the scale of the crisis that India is staring at?
So thank you. First of all, I'd like to clarify that what we did is not a survey. It's actually relief work. We are depending on where workers are stranded. We are trying to connect them with local organizations and try to have government facilities reach them. And in the process, for immediate needs, we are doing some small cash provision to them. So in the process, we tried to systematically collect information from them, and the report that we released was based on that. And we'll be releasing a second version of the report soon. And the picture is very grim because so far we've interacted with more than 16,000 workers across the country, and more than 4 out of 5 people do not have access to government rations. Roughly 68 to 70% of them have not had access to cooked food from any source, government or local organization. And as you said, only about 6% of the people that have reached out to us have got their full wages during the lockdown period. So we are staring at levels of extreme precarity and vulnerability among an entire class of people. We are talking about crores of people here.
Sir, also the report mentions that close to 400 million migrant people are stranded in different cities in India. You see, the government gave only 4 hours of window before imposing this lockdown in the country. So, do you think that the government did not foresee this kind of unprecedented crisis that was coming into India?
Yeah, so it was a unilateral decision taken by the central government without any consultation with state governments or the local administration. They just gave 4 hours to everyone to make sure things are in place, and 4 hours is just not enough. What has happened is soon after the crisis, soon after the lockdown started, the state governments and the administration, I would say, is only playing up catching up game, because by then the crisis had snowballed into a big deal. So it's very difficult for state governments to catch up because every day the nature of crisis is also changing. Initially, people were just wanting to rush back home. They realized that they can't go back home because of closure of borders, etc. So they decided to, okay, fine, there is no choice given to them. So they were stuck. The immediate need was, okay, at least let's try and find some ration somewhere. Then, of course, soon what happens is many people get, for example, they got rice but no dal. They didn't have gas to cook. So I think it's a case where the central government had absolutely no idea, and it's also, I think personally, it reflects a certain callousness towards an entire class of people who actually build the nation. That's what I think I would say. Yeah.
Correct. So during this entire relief work and the survey report that you have now published, you might have come across some people who are stranded in big cities of India and they are facing certain hurdles. What do you think is their most immediate need right now?
I think it's a combination of food and cash. There is absolute urgency for money as well, because they are running, like from what we are finding, more than around 2/3 of the people have less than 100 rupees left. Now, with this 100 rupees, how can they even think of surviving for the rest of the period? And also, many of them would want to go back home. Many of them have expressed a desire to go back home. So how does one ensure these kind of things? And also that the thing is the many of them also have to pay room rent for places
Correct.
that they have been stranded in. So all these put together, I would say there is an absolute emergency for universalizing rations. Make sure rations are not restricted to people having ration cards, and also make sure there is a wage compensation paid to every stranded worker. It's not a charity that if the government pays about 7,000 rupees a month to them, it's not charity. It's actually compensation for the fact that they were not paid during this period, and ultimately the statutory responsibility falls on the governments. So I think there has to be some accountability there.
The report that you have published has taken into account the problems of migrant workers from the period that the lockdown started between March 27 to April 13. Now, that was the first phase of the lockdown. Do you think after those 3 weeks of first phase of lockdown, the crisis has snowballed into a big one?
Yeah, I think the crisis has deepened in some sense. So in fact, what is it's also manifesting in the kind of people who are reaching out to us. Earlier, it was only stranded workers, but now even settled populations, people who've been living in a place for more than 10 years, they have Aadhaar cards from that city, but yet they don't have access to ration. So these are not just your stranded workers from Bihar or UP or Jharkhand who are here, but these are people who've been in a city for more than 10 years. So even the nature of people for whom the crisis is touching is changing, and that's dramatically changing, I would say.
Correct. I read in the report that not only the migrant workers but also domestic workers who are staying in the city and vendors who are self-employed are also approaching you for money and for food and all those needs. Even some of the people are also calling us up. I am sure many media organizations are also getting these calls from standard workers calling out for help. But I want to particularly talk about the self-employed and the domestic workers, because these are the people who are employed by the middle class in the big cities. So how come these people are the ones who are now asking for help? I mean, has the middle class abandoned them?
In It's actually good that you're asking, because in fact from the first 3 weeks to now, there is also a shift in the proportion of people who are self-employed who are reaching us. That's doubled. Earlier in the till 13th of April, it was about 7 to 8%, and now it's increased to about 16-17%. So that means that more self-employed people are reaching out, and these self-employed are domestic workers, yes, drivers, they run small shops, they are ready patri, they sort of run carts and rickshaw pullers. They are also reaching out. So yes, the middle class actually, what this entire thing has exposed is the complete blindness that middle and the affluent classes have towards the working class, because there is absolutely no care or concern for an entire crores of people, and that's sort of coming out in this manner. That's being exposed very badly in this.
Some of the state governments have also announced some relief measures. For example, Delhi has announced close to 5,000 rupees for drivers and rickshaw pullers, etc. Then some state governments have also announced cash assistance to migrant workers. They are providing shelters. Even the central government has said that they are providing close to 500 rupees to every person in their Jan Dhan account. So, do you think these measures are enough?
They are far from enough. Especially the Jan Dhan is just absolute. It's almost like a joke, because what they are saying is 500 rupees to be transferred to a woman's bank account for a month. It's 500 for a month. And there are also, we've seen cases where they line up in rural India. Banks are very crowded. So there are about at any given point of time, you'll see about 300-400 people lining up just to get cash. So that's absolutely inadequate. Coming back to your other point, from the people that have reached out to us, about 97% of them have not received any kind of cash support from any government. The few that have received are the 1,000 rupees cash transfer that the Bihar government has given. So I would say it's woefully inadequate, and it's almost like a joke. 500 rupees a month is literally a joke.
If in case the lockdown is lifted after May 3rd, what do you expect? What will happen? Because migrant workers' anger is at its peak. We are seeing it in Bandra. It happened where thousands of migrant workers came out and they started protesting. Yesterday, it happened in Surat for the third time in a month. So, migrant workers in different parts of India now, it is like they have had enough. They are coming out and they are protesting against the government's decision.
Yeah, but I think any kind of protest would require some kind of an organization. So
Mm-hmm.
this is completely, I mean, this is taking unorganized workforce to a different level. So many of them are just, there is a certain, what do I say, there is an emotional drain on them through this period. Many of them have expressed that, you know what, I don't know, come what may, I just want to go back home. There are others who have resigned to the fate. They've said that, what do we do? This is a scenario, but unless we earn, we won't be able to go back home. So because of that, it's almost like they are in captivity now because they feel that unless they have some money, they will not be able to go back home because typically they've been transferring some amount of money home and that has not happened in the last month. So many of them, it almost feels like they're bonded to a place uh, till the time they are able to earn some money and then go back home. So I think there would be there. I do foresee some kind of an unrest in this, but I think the government should take very clear steps of providing the clarity of options that people should have to return home if they want to return home, and through sanitized methods. For example, if students from Rajasthan Kota could be taken back to UP in a sanitized manner, why
Correct.
don't we extend the same kind of treatment to our workers? That's critical. Whoever
Correct.
wants to go back home should be given the option to. Yeah.
I just want to share one incident over here. Today, I was coming by a rickshaw, and the rickshaw puller asked me if the government can arrange planes for students who are stuck abroad to bring them back to India. Why couldn't they arrange the buses or trains for migrant workers? Now, I'm sure you have also come across such questions. Any particular incident that you kind of remember from your interaction with the migrant workers?
I mean, not specifically something to this type, but there is definitely an expression that many of them said that why won't we be allowed to go back? The other day, I was speaking to someone and they said that there are people from Madhya Pradesh who are going all the way walking to Rajasthan, and they are saying, "Come what may, we'll just head back home." So that sense, it shows the fact that they don't, the sense of belonging is not there. One thing that I have heard from some migrant workers from Bihar and Karnataka is in some area, the local administration distributed rations to the Kannada speakers, but not to the Hindi speakers. So that kind of, they also said that ये हमारे इज्जत का मजाक है. So that kind of thing is this kind of some kind of a parochial difference that is also emerging in some parts of the country. I'm not saying everywhere, but it is happening in some parts. Yeah.
Okay, so which are these states which are the most affected? I mean, migrants from which state are the most affected due to this lockdown?
I think Bihar and Jharkhand. Bihar and Jharkhand, at least the people who've reached out to us, they're largely from Bihar and Jharkhand. And Maharashtra in Mumbai is where the situation, I would say, is particularly dire. Mumbai and parts of Haryana, although, yeah, and access to government rations has been abysmal there, and even access to cooked food has been very bad in Mumbai. So migrants from Bihar and Jharkhand, at least, they have reached out to us most. They are definitely the most affected, and followed by Bengal as well. Yeah.
Okay, what will be the future course if the government wants to solve this crisis, if they want to sort of solve the crisis that is in front of us, the migrant crisis, and subside the anger among the migrant? What is the steps that they can take?
See, I think critically one is universalization of rations. When there are 77 odd million tons of grains available in the godowns of Food Corporation of India, there is absolutely no reason. It's 3 times the buffer stock that is mandated. So there is absolutely no reason why rations cannot be universalized now. So first step is to make sure rations are universalized. Don't have mandatory requirements of people having ration cards or anything. Have some way of accounting, keep track of who is taking so that hoarding can be prevented, and decentralize the distribution of rations as much as possible. That's very critical, number one. Number two is have clear communication of, and not just communication, but also implementation of sanitized transportation back to their respective towns. Now, this is a time when no trains are running, no buses are running. So it is definitely possible that you can start about 20 trains in a day from Mumbai to parts of Bihar, 20 trains in a day from parts of Bangalore to parts of Bihar and Jharkhand. These are easily workable solutions if there is political willingness. The third thing is, as I said, only 6% of all those people who've reached out to us have received their full wages during the lockdown period. So it's very important that the government immediately does a wage compensation of 7,000 a month till situations are restored. If it takes 3 months, it should take 3 months, and one cannot cut short these things. So these are, I think, and also this is a time when we have to pause and really think of a restructuring of social security for this entire working class. It's a time for us to really rebuild our society and think of legalizing. There are lots of provisions there are lots of laws and acts in India. Make sure those are implemented, and people live with dignity, because that's something that most of them have felt, that their dignity is being very affected, has been trampled during this process. So these are some immediate measures that the government should take.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on this conversation. Definitely, India needs to do more when it comes to helping these stranded migrant workers who are dealing with the lockdown and are the most affected. The food security and financial security has to be provided to them if we want to subside the anger amongst the migrant workers. Well, thank you so much, sir, for joining us on this conversation.
Thank you so much. Yeah.